Hello, and welcome to the Practice Marketing Podcast, highlighting successful strategies from North America's fastest growing clinics and experts so you can learn from their wins and power your practice growth. Hi, I'm your host, Neil Trickett, CEO of Practice Promotions. And today's focus, we're going to talk about something pretty advanced here, which is the role of AI and ChatGPT in your clinic marketing and how you can leverage this new technology and tools. So I'm joined by Matthew Goodemote here, who's our Director of Copywriting at Practice Promotions. And Matt is a very talented individual. He's actually a physical therapist and has been a practice owner, having a physical therapy practice in upstate New York. So Matt, great to have you on the call with us here.
Thanks.
And we also have Jacob Seiner, who's our Director of Marketing at Practice Promotions. So Jacob has been with us for, 6 years, something like that. A very talented individual and super research based, has a lot of experience in AI, and so does Matt. So welcome to the show, Jacob.
Thanks. Yes.
Yeah, so let's just get into this here. And Jacob, can you just help our audience understand, just in plain words, what is AI?
Yeah, there's a lot of mystical things about AI out in the marketplace, isn't there? But really, it's a lot more simple than it sounds. It's just computer logic that is analyzing information and running calculations to try to interpret the data with the goal of returning something useful to the user, right? So more quickly than you would. Really, that's kind of at its core. You're returning something useful more quickly than you would manually. So it has to be fed information, right? It can't work from nothing. It's not a brain that's just, well, some of it makes stuff up if you're using a bad one, but but as long as you feed information in, it works to. We have another guest here trying to make herself known. Works to just, like I said, gather, interpret that data, and make decisions or generate back content or do, like I said, different things depending on the application. It can also search and try to gather information kind of like we used to use Google back in the day, right? That's becoming more and more popular, trying to gather answers to basic questions um,
So I
on
think that's
like search
something for our
engines.
audience to like understand too, is that AI is not creating brand new things. It's just scraping the internet for what information is already out there and compiling it in a way that's useful based off of your questions, right? That's kind of the simplicity of it. And so,
Yes.
Jacob, you use a lot for our own marketing, right, and our own analysis there. So, like, what types of things do we typically use AI for in our marketing of Practice Promotions?
So as it applies to marketing, there's a couple key things that I look for opportunities to say, is our team going to use this? Is it going to make us more efficient? So, um, content creation, but also, and to me, even more importantly, personalization opportunities is where we have been putting a lot of effort. Um, can I make, can I help my team create things faster that actually sounds more human? And that almost sounds, like a paradox to what we're talking about here, but really, can you use the tool to be more personal at scale, right? That's the key, to be able to do it bigger and wider than you would manually. So content creation, personalization is huge. And again, team efficiency. I want my team to be spending the time on the things that they need to. Can I alleviate small little tasks along the way? Um, but then also for marketing, there's a big component of research and data analysis. So things like a simple example is it's really easy to talk with one of these chats or whatever AI platform you're using to say, okay, what are people searching for on Google about this topic? What are the actual terms that they're using? And that can inform your SEO, right? Because you can actually then develop keywords and things that are actually being searched for and stuff. So there's a lot of research that can go into it. I'm sure that Matt does some of this too. We like to build personas. So again, to the idea that AI needs information, you have to feed it information that you know about your customer. But as you do that, it can learn and it can become that customer. And then I can feed it a web page and say that I made and say, does this answer the primary concerns of my customer that would stop them from signing up? And it'll actually evaluate that based on the persona that I've built. So research is huge. And then that content and efficiency are the other side of that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? I think the key thing is that this is a tool, right? And the people's who have the ability to leverage this tool and start using it to communicate with others are going to be the ones that are further ahead. So you've got to understand AI to some point, and how can you incorporate that more into your practice? There's lots of, it's such a rapidly evolving technology, right? And if you just think where we were 3 years ago, we weren't even using AI, right? And just in the last couple of years here, it's just exploded in how we're using it in day-to-day life. And it's just going to get faster, right? And I was chatting with a person yesterday, and there's, companies out there that the AI is going to be doing insurance verifications and documentation for you based off of what you're, kind of saying. So just making life simpler. And how can you, incorporate these technologies to make your practice more efficient and cost efficient, and all these kind of things. And so, Matt, I know that you do a lot of content writing, and your team does a lot of content writing for our practice clients. And so, how do you use AI to do research in those kind of personas that Jake was talking about?
Well, the one I spent most of my time with has been ChatGPT. And I started right when it first came out. And for the last year, have been trying to fine tune the prompt process. It's very time consuming for me. I'm very particular about what I want to get back, that feedback that Jacob was talking about. So there was a lot of inaccuracies. And like you said, it pulls from the whole internet. So this pulling all kinds of stuff that's just not at all relevant. So it's, as Jacob said, also though, productivity wise, it has increased my ability to produce content exponentially, which has been great. Research wise, I've been kind of leaning towards Gemini and Copilot mainly. They tend to produce really up to date, evidence based type of content. So I can get the research studies and they can point me in the direction. I just started with Claude. I haven't done a lot with it. It looks really promising, similar to ChatGPT. But most of the research I've done, Neil, has been trial and error, making tons and tons of mistakes, and then like getting content and yelling at my screen. That's not what I'm looking for. Stop doing that.
Well, I think that brings
Lots
a
of
point though, Matt, right? That you just don't have the idea like, oh, I want to start writing all these different blogs for myself, and all of a sudden I'm just going to go use
yeah,
ChatGPT and everything's going to be
yeah,
perfect, right?
right,
That's not the
right.
case. Like it takes some development. And this is this something like, you want to be able to produce more marketing content for your practice. You want to do some blogs, you want to do newsletters out to patients, community events, things like that. But do you need to do that yourself? If you're trying to treat all the patients and, run your practice, do you need to be figuring out how to leverage ChatGPT in the right way and do all the research and all that kind of stuff, right? Or do you use someone who knows what they're doing with it, make your life a
Yeah,
little bit easier, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, Neil, I took literally weeks to get a single prompt for for it to work fairly consistently.
Mhm.
And now it's faster for me because of that time I spent. So I can definitely do new prompts faster. But I wouldn't have in the clinic that kind of time to do it. It's faster just to write the thing. And I have professional writers that work in the copy department. And for them, one of them in particular, it slows her productivity down. And she's one of our best writers and she produces really good content. So for her, the AI for research to find research studies and stuff, very, very effective. But to actually write the content, there's so much editing that she has to do and rewording things that it's just not worth her time.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's certain aspects that would be beneficial for AI usage within a practice, and then some things you might want to outsource. I think what I've seen a Chat GPT work really well for with like a clinic, marketing director, for example, or even if you're a practice owner doing things yourself, a lot of times we're stuck without ideas. Like we're just trying to figure
Yeah.
things out, but you can really use Chat GPT to just give you some ideas or some direction,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's definitely true. And sometimes even just having it to write a blog on, just pick a topic, back pain, and you read it and you're like, oh, no, this is what I want to do. And then you can write it yourself, of course, or zero in on a particular
Mhm.
area. And I often will use the Gemini to create a list of evidence-based treatments. And then I can pick and choose what treatments I want to use as part of my content. And again, get more and more specific.
Mhm.
That the Gemini tends to give like a very kind of mediocre product, but then I can even use that and put it into the Chat GPT and say, okay, use this information and expand on it and give me some more suggestions and ideas and how to, if it's sports PT, what here could I use to do sports PT, or if it's occupational therapy, whatever the particular practitioner is.
Mhm.
And then ChatGPT will give me some things that, okay, now I can zero in and focus my efforts in a particular direction.
Yeah, I think one thing that could be really helpful with that is, in the clinic, you're like, okay, we've got a good sports medicine program, but I'm not, I don't know what necessarily to write about, or even just to kind of focus on. So you can use ChatGPT to look at what people are mostly searching for, right? And then it starts to give you some ideas in terms of, okay, well, I didn't realize, but actually people are searching a lot for how to prevent knee injuries. That's the primary thing so let me start writing about that, because that's going to get in front of the most people. So that's where I think ChatGPT can be very helpful in the clinic for a marketing coordinator, around those kind of research topics and themes. And have you seen like content in clinics try to incorporate that too into their social media?
Yeah, the social media part, we're just tapping into right now because it's been PPC team that's been doing majority of it. But absolutely, ChatGPT, the social posts that I ran that I wrote were ChatGPT, write a social post on this topic, and I thought it did a really good job. Required minimal edits, and again, you can say, give me 10 social posts, and then you can look at the 10 different ones, combine them, add, subtract, whatever, and that's really, really effective. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
so it's great as an idea tool, right, for you in the practice,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that can be for lots of different things. So we're talking a lot about content creation and marketing and things like that. But if you need to think about, okay, what's best practices for handling phone calls on the front desk? There could be
Yeah.
stuff like that out there, right? And you
Yeah.
can even develop then best
Scripts,
practice
exactly.
scripts for your front desk to use. Like, so this, or your billing team, like same thing there. Like, what's
Yes.
the best thing to handle difficult money conversations, right? There's all
Yeah.
kinds of ways that you could incorporate that into your practice, right?
Yes.
Even during like a recruiting and interviewing process there. So just kind of
Absolutely. Repeat
all kinds of
questions,
things.
interview questions. Yeah, you can do anything with it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Uh, Jacob, did you have a thought?
I was just agreeing that, yeah, again, back to the just knowing what its limits, what you're going to have to edit, right? If you have front desk, maybe you're training, uh, you can have different chats within it. You can train it to be, okay, you are a front desk employee. You do this, that. You actually build up how it views itself, and then teach it about your clinic. And then you can, to your point, have responses like that are well informed. And you can hone that in over time. It's important to know that AI is not that good yet. Like it's a huge hype, but like you said, Neil, we're in its infancy. There's a reason that Matt uses 4 different tools because they're all in different way. Nobody has
Yeah.
mastered one. And there's even signals to say, like, despite all the hype, people like Amazon's CEO told investors that revenue out of AI was going to be pretty small in the near future. Or Salesforce made a comment that they don't expect their AI contributions to make any money this year. Like, okay, it's cool, it's developing, but it is not there yet. And knowing what's good for you and what's good for which tasks is really important. Having those right expectations.
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those, what's the right fit for your practice, right? And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with just starting to get in, play around, and see what you can come up with, right? And
Yeah.
so Matt, obviously we do a lot with research here, and using AI and how we're doing content for clients and things like that. So how do we use ChatGPT for our clients?
Well, for research, what we were just talking about, I would use it. It will not give you accurate scientific studies. It will make them up. So there's been times where I've taken the study and looked for it because I thought, oh, that's great. This fit exactly what I was looking for. It doesn't exist. So do not rely on it for accurate research studies. Don't cite those studies that don't exist. So for that, that's where I would go to Copilot or Gemini, because they will give you references, but ultimately you eventually have to get to the actual source and get the link that way. But so for the big part that I use it for personally, Neil, is I have it write things like blogs and websites. But we go through this really rigorous editing process. So if I was going to write, I have some examples. I'm doing a training later today for the practice promotion team, and one of the examples I gave was it was literal word for word content, and there was like one or two words that are different for a web page, three different prompts, three different topics, and the literal exact phrasing. So the reason why this can be a problem is for SEO purposes, it's going to look like it's the exact same content on multiple pages. So you can't use it for that type of purpose. But for blogs, I find with all those prompts that I've worked on for so long, I do get a fairly good product. I have yet to have one that goes that I don't have to edit. There's always a mistake somewhere in there. And I have one of my copywriters review all my content to make sure that I'm not missing that stuff too. So
Okay.
blogs, websites, those are the primary social posts, of course. Those are the primary actual content creation that we're using it for.
Yeah. So I think the kind of the moral of the story there is that it can really help you with the research side. It can help you with writing stuff, because we know that we do need to market in our clinic. We do need to be sending good marketing content and information to our customer list. I mean, you should be doing that. That's why you get repeat patients. That's why you get referrals. And we need to be putting stuff out there on the internet, social media, blogs, things like that. So that takes some time, right? And ChatGPT can make that a little faster for you, but it maybe is like 60% effective, right? And you've got to do the other 40% to just double check on things and give your own take on it, your own spin and all that, right?
For sure. So I've had times where like I'll have a particular topic that it'll do really well for just general information. There's only so many ways you can talk about what is back pain or what is a herniated disc. It is what it is. But when you get into the rest of the content, that's where it starts to go off the rails. And like you said, so that the basic informational pieces, there's not a lot of editing that we need to do, some word choices, but the rest of the content that build around the particular topic, that's where most of it comes from and takes for me. So I like to say, Neil, I'm not a writer. I'm a PT that writes. So for me, it's also having AI, it basically, I can do two things in the same amount of time. It took me a year ago to do one. But I still have to go through all the steps. I still have to do the research to make sure that's supported by evidence and things. So there is a whole process to it that, that AI is not going to change. There's no way to take that away at this point. Like Jacob said, it's just infancy stages. So it doesn't have those capabilities at this point. Reliability.
Yeah. And I think what you were saying too is that the different platforms that kind of give you different results. So ChatGPT is one format. Gemini, also, is it Gemini or Bard that's Google's product?
I use Gemini. I don't really know. I think Bard was the original name and they changed it to Gemini.
Oh, okay.
But I don't really know. Yeah.
I think that's Google's product. So yeah, you did get
yes,
a bit
it is
more
Google's. Yes.
the references in that particular.
Exactly. Yep.
So if you are going to write something that needs a bit more, medical reference to it, that's probably a better option than ChatGPT.
Definitely. Yep.
Okay.
And then Copilot is what's that? It's Microsoft's version of it too.
Yeah.
And that's just more of a search engine that gives you that's actually where I go to when I taught my team to look for the research studies, because it gives the most up-to-date 2024 studies. Some of the other ones lag behind and you get 2022 as to, that type of thing. But
Gotcha. And so obviously there's that side of it with the research and the content writing. We got to get our clinic found online, and that comes down to how we getting in the search engines, predominantly Google, right? So Jacob, how is your team using AI in helping with search engine optimization?
Yeah, we've already touched on the research, right? That's key. Like especially if you're somewhat new to SEO, using that to just figure out what people are looking for back pain. How many different ways are people needing help with, back pain related topics? That can be extremely helpful. You can get ideas so fast. You could sit down your first time with a couple of specific prompts that you could take off of an article, and get 15 blog ideas. It wouldn't be that hard. And I would just say, again, ideas, right? Not written. You want to go through more of a process for that. But things like outlines or just titles of blog posts are very easy to get quickly. But then you want to be like Matt said, you can use it to generate content if you have that rigorous editing process. But yeah, to me, it's a lot of research because you'll hear people talk about, oh, is AI content going to hurt your SEO? Frankly, you know, what they're missing is kind of the point there. Being lazy hurts your SEO. Okay, so like that's a big difference. Google has made it very clear that what they care about is helpfulness to the person searching, right? If you can use ChatGPT as a tool to create things that are really helpful, and not just whatever it spits out, but understand what the intent of the searcher is and answer those questions, and you can do that, then it's going to be fine. In fact, Google has Gemini, like they're one of the biggest players in the AI space now as far as the money that they're investing. They're not going to penalize something that they are trying to use and to sell. So AI itself is not going to hurt you on the SEO side, but being lazy will. And that's really important to remember. And, yeah, so there's, you want to, and then the other side is just keeping more of an eye on how search looks, right? If you see what's on Google now, a lot of the snippets are AI generated snippets. Now they're not very good. Again, there was a story recently of Google pulled up a result suggesting to add non-toxic glue to pizza cheese to help it stick to the sauce. It had pulled this from like Reddit or something that somebody had made a sarcastic comment, and the AI had pulled this into an answer in a question. So again, it's not there, but Google's putting it front and center on their page. So we do need to understand that, look at things like, I actually chatted with our SEO team here recently on that. There's a lot of experts diving into what that means, but really it's about user-centric content. And like I said, just, are you being helpful to what their real intent is, and providing answers to their intended question in more short form ways probably than before. Your 10,000 word blog might get on the organic listings, but are you going to be able to pull that one sentence snippet into the AI thing? So user answering the questions, and then giving them that quickly, right? And then secondly, realizing that they're going to be giving more prominence to that AI. So always just keep an eye on how that looks. What can I do to address that? Again, if SEO is not a huge part of your job description, you don't need to dive terribly deep into that. That's something that I would say, because it's going to change so much. Like I said, we're going to go from tacky glue in the pizza cheese to a much more refined solution in the next 5 years. And you want to be aware that that first organic spot isn't the only thing that you're going to need anymore, but get some expert help on that if you don't have a lot of time to spend.
Do you want more freedom in your clinic? Then you need to work on your business, not just in it. The top practice owners know that they need a marketing system that consistently attracts patients from the internet. And at Practice Promotions, we've helped hundreds of practice owners skyrocket to the top of Google and get more new patients from online. Go to practicepromotions.net/kit to get our free practice marketing sample kit. It includes all our digital marketing tips and tricks that will get you new patients from Google. That's practicepromotions.net/kit, KIT, for a free marketing kit. And now back to the show.
Absolutely. And so I think one of the things there, like Jacob is trying to bring your attention to, is that this is June of 2024, and we just noticed some months ago that Google's search has changed, right? And so what you're seeing now is when you type in, say, physical therapy, right, in a search engine, well, what you're going to see at the top now is what AI has put together. And then underneath that, you start to get the ads section. And then underneath that, you get the map section. And then underneath that, you have the top 10 section, the organic section. So everything got shoved down the page. And we all know that the closer to the top of Google we can get our practice, the more people are going to find us, the more patients we're going to get in the clinic. So bottom line is now that top spot Google has put priority in serving up what AI is coming up with for your search. Now, I think you're not going to see it with every single search that you do, because there's some different types of searches. So like if you put in, for example, what is physical therapy? that AI is going to show up at the top because it's very general. It's like a definition, and you're trying to find some general information about it. But if you're looking for best physical therapy near me, then it's going to show more of the ads in the map section at the top. It's not necessarily going to pull up an AI response for you because it knows that you're looking for some specific business or some solution near you. And so that
Comes
still
back
comes
to that
down to
intent.
that intent,
Is
right?
it informational intent, or is it a transactional intent, or a physical store kind of intent, local intent? So yeah, knowing what to answer, and then doing your efforts to appear at the local intent, that shopping intent,
Mhm.
is more through ads and maps and business profiles. Some of the same things that we've always used, but just knowing that the search volume and the search intent are very different.
Yeah, so if you're out there and you're not leveraging Google Ads, you should be. That's what gets you to the very top of Google. And then you want to definitely work hard to be in that maps section, which is reviews are part of it, but that's not what gets you in that map section. It's not reviews alone. There's other types of parameters that go into that search. And then in the top 10, ultimately, the goal of your practice is to command as much of page one as Google as possible. So if you can have 4 spots on page one of Google, people are going to trust you, right? You're going to be the first choice that they go to. And so that's where your kind of marketing plan should be really focused around. But knowing that for some searches that AI is something that shows up now at the top of Google, you do want to make sure that you are adding more to your website, that you're putting information there that's going to be helpful for people finding you. So you want to have a robust enough website with lots of content. I know that's what Matt works a lot with our website team on, is having content by what conditions people would search for. And then blogs. Blogs are a great way to just keep fresh content up there. That's a great way to get content picked that AI might be, showing at the top of Google for you. So Jacob and Matt, is there other types of, AI uses here in clinical marketing that our audience could think about?
Yeah, I mean, some of the what I would say that comes down to is actually to focus more on looking for the opportunities for AI in the things you're already doing, not necessarily like you're not going to add a golden ticket item. Like you're not going to buy a $30 a month AI tool that's going to get you all these new patients. Like that's not a correlation. You're not looking for a silver bullet. But where can you use it in things that are already happening, like you know, chatbots or one thing for me that it's come a long way. AI has gotten to where they can collect information you need to call somebody back who's interested without you having to build out really complicated flows of stuff. It can say, we have one that frankly has even learned to tell when somebody's not a fit for our business, like they don't work with a medical practice or of any kind, or, and like, hey, sorry, they just don't even take that person's information. So if you've tried chatbots and felt like it was complicated, that's one to maybe look into again. Now that that's developed. Personalization, like I said, if there's any tools that you can use to make your outreach more personal in your email or your text marketing. And then social media, like Matt said, that's one area where the copy doesn't have to be incredibly high quality, evidence-based vetted type of content. It just needs to be connecting with people, and ChatGPT and many other things can write your social media posts very easily. And that's something to definitely leverage and save you time. It comes back to, again, that expectation of the industries. There's a group called the Neuron that does like a newsletter for AI, and they reported recently the industries that have seen an increase in productivity are copywriting, Matt's department, and coding. And I don't mean billing, I mean programming. um, so, if you're outside of those are like 50% more productive type of things. If you're outside of those industries, though, you're looking for the 5 to 10%. What can I just do a little more efficiently? So, yeah, there are some smaller things. If you have tools, if you use like a social media schedule, it started to integrate AI, feel it out, start to use it. What at least it's going to do, and using ChatGPT and learning to talk to it, is teach you how to work with the machine a little bit, you need to feed it information. The CEO of Zapier said, I love this quote, that is like, the gap between beginners and AI experts will never be smaller than it is right now. He said that just a couple months ago. The point is, we're still young. if you get on board even a little bit now, you'll be in a better place to where if in 5 years this stuff has like gone insane and really is really good, you're not going to be as behind the curve as
Yeah.
some of your
It's kind of
competitors.
like
So
when the internet came out, right? And there was lots of people. I remember being in college and being like one of the first people to get email, right? So I'm dating myself a bit here, but and then our professor was really kind of geeky and he loved that stuff, so he got us an email account. He got us connected to the library at the college, at the university, and so we're like, oh man, we're gonna use this. But you start to use it, right? And because you had someone kind of push you ahead with that, you got better and better and into that world versus the people that stayed behind. They took a lot longer to catch up, and still don't necessarily use technology as good as some of us, today. So you're right in that. Just start dabbling, right? Just get in there, see what you can do. It doesn't mean you have to spend hours figuring this out. Just like dabble a little bit, right? But you'll start to be ahead of the curve of people that aren't doing anything. Um, Jacob, I'd love for you to share because Jacob is always pushing the cutting edge here at Practice Promotions for us, and we actually pull some of that into how we're helping our clients too. But he's recently done something with the team with AI and video. So you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
yeah, so um, like I said, the one of the biggest important things for me this year that I've been trying to understand is how can we personalize more, right? Again, how can I connect with people that actually is about their business? So for us, again, from my perspective, I'm looking at our customers. These are medical practices largely in the physical therapy space and chiro space and some others, but like there's even within that, there's a lot of differences, right? There's sports and athlete kind of focused people, there are wellness, and there's a lot of nuances. Um, I don't want to just put out like, hey, we can help your medical clinic. Yeah, that's not going to resonate with people real well. So we recently have launched a video solution where we can basically, as people come in and they express interest, um, we our tool evaluates their website, takes what we know about them from them signing up for us, not anything that we're going out and finding in a sketchy way, right? But puts together a video that literally talks about our Google rank solutions and it has their website on the screen, and it has their city. It shows the actual Google search for their city, and how we can get them up, higher on that page and stuff. So it's personalization that's more than, hey, name, this is blah, 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 blah. I'm actually looking at your website and your Google area and saying we can put you up here, and that's, how we're going to help you. So yeah, really personalized video. We're very excited about that as an opportunity with some new AI tools. And then again, you want to do that in your emails and we have, for instance, our sales team is always looking for people to reach out to. I have a tool that will, if somebody in our system, in our CRM, or, you might have, if you have like a WebPT Reach or something where you're kind of dealing with potential prospects, it's a similar thing for us. If they take a certain action, so that I know that they're looking into us, I'll hit a trigger that tells ChatGPT to, again, or actually it looks at their website, it feeds that information into ChatGPT and says, and it says, okay, about our business because I have fed you all this information about our business. Here's how we help people. Here's blah, 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 blah. Now write an email draft to this person about what they're trying to do by looking at their website. Understand, are they sports? Are they this? How we can help them rank better and get the ads up for this type of athlete or this type of audience. And save that email draft in my sales reps drafts folder. And they can just go through their drafts now and edit it, to Matt's point. I know that it's not going to be perfect, but it is more personal. Again, it's already tailored to what they're trying to do, to the interests that they've expressed, and we can reach out to them a little
And it saves a
faster
bunch
with a
of
little
time.
more
Yeah.
specific. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So one of the things and this is the challenge within the medical industry is that you do have to obviously work within the rules of HIPAA and people to, and don't go ahead and load up any patient names into ChatGPT. That's a no-no, right? You can't do that. Or Facebook, you can't, those are not, HIPAA compliant platforms. So there's some challenges there that you have to navigate from the medical space, and that you're careful. But usually, and I'm sure the EMR solutions will come up with this in the future, is that in email automations, text automation, stuff like that, the personalization will get better because they're already in your system. They're already patients. They've already signed off consent forms and all that kind of stuff, right? So, but going out and doing cold marketing to audiences that don't know you, yeah, that's going to be more of a challenge from the medical side of things.
Right.
But
You would
there's
want to
tons
focus
of
more on using that to, again, create templates based on like condition and stuff. And then so
Yeah.
you can have that in your back end, and you can tell your team to say, okay, well, here's your refined template, and now you can put their name in and your HIPAA compliant email server and all that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so
That's
Matt,
what I was thinking.
go ahead.
Sorry, I was thinking the same thing. Like if the email list I had through my EMR, that's where I would use, if I was still had my practice and had AI, I would draft the content that I wanted to send out. So if we had a workshop coming up, I'm going to put ChatGPT, give it the details, print me out something really nice, and that would go out in my email blast to the patients, my former patients.
Mhm.
So that's it.
Yeah, awesome. So there's a lot of
It's a
opportunity
low
there.
hanging fruit.
Yeah, to communicate
sure.
with your patients. And it
Yeah.
comes back to also in those lists, the it's all about details and data, right? So if you can, within those patient lists that you have, if you are able to have them, separated out by, say, what condition they came in. Let's say they came in for a knee, they
Yeah.
came in for back, they came in for a neck. Well, you can send general marketing like, hey, we're having an overall thing here. And you might get someone who came in for a neck, but they also have a knee issue. You don't know,
Yeah.
or their friend has a knee issue. So you still want to send stuff out, but you could be a bit more targeted too if you want to try to get that patient to come back, or pay attention to, hey, don't let that knee pain longer linger on. You have your knee pain list and have the personalization, with ChatGPT help you out in that part, right? For emails.
There are too, if you get a little more out of like the free ChatGPT and go into either 4, or there are some other tools that are more built for this specifically. I wish I could remember the name of one. So what I'll do is I can export a spreadsheet of all of our emails sent over the last 12 months. Just the subject line, the send date, the click-through rate, and the open rate. And so no specific patient data. It was just how many were sent. So did I send to 1,000 people, or, like stuff like that. So then I can actually upload that into some of these tools and just start asking questions. Hey, what is the average open rate over 12 months? There it is. That's easy information. But then I can start to say, okay, show me the top 10 subject lines that were above average over, maybe in the last 30 days. So, okay, what did we do well this past month? It's going to pull out those subject lines a whole lot faster than I could have done that. And then you can even get a little more detailed if you're good with your prompts of like, what words appear frequently in emails that are above average open rates, appear in the subject line. So you can actually hone in your subject lines and stuff with that. So that's the other, it goes back to that research element, but actually using not just who's out there searching and what could I do, but now once you've done some marketing, bringing that data back in and being able to analyze what you've done.
Very cool. And so, we've talked a lot about content and words, but there's stuff that's happening around video and pictures and images. What do you foresee there for the future? Practice owners might be able to leverage there from an image or a video standpoint using AI.
Yeah, that is, I would say it's worth paying attention to right now. I haven't seen a perfect solution. A lot of AI video is extremely clunky right now, and you're still in that early stage, but it is getting better fast, and eventually that could be a much cheaper way to create social media content for you, or even maybe website content. But I would say especially more on like the social, quick kind of easy stuff. You want to be showing faces and you want to be showing your clinic, but video especially, I think we'll get to a point where there's going to be some good tools to make just engaging type of easy content. You don't want to view it as this is going to sell a bunch of people and signing up with me necessarily. I don't know. Maybe it gets that good, but definitely on the engagement, the social side, finding ways to create more and to do more and to be able to put more out there on TikTok or Instagram or wherever you want to be. Is something to pay attention to. Again, I wouldn't say that it's there yet, but it's
you can definitely tell where the AI, what's an
absolutely
AI picture.
Yes.
I had a fun.
Yeah, and I haven't seen a talking head that I'm really happy with yet. You know?
Right, yeah. I had one recently. It was hilarious, and I downloaded the app, and you take a few pictures of your face, and then it's like, okay, set me up as a business person, but on vacation in Bora Bora, right? So it's me. You can see there's some kind of like, like some features of my face, but then I look like I'm like 40 pounds lighter and just a big hunk, right? So I was like,
trying to win you over.
I wish that was me, right?
Now, can you make me look like this?
You make me look, yeah, exactly. Right. So we know that's happening, and it's crazy now because there's actually whole artificial personas on social media like that. It's just like AI people, right? I think we'll get to the point where it looks just so realistic that you don't know whether it's an actual person or not. I think we're still a ways
And
away.
some people can do
that.
It's not at a consumer level, like I said, that we're not there yet. That there are people who can do that, and the other question we'll end up getting into ultimately is our government's going to start intervening in that kind of stuff because it can get weird, right? But yeah, definitely keep an eye on it. Look at it as an engagement, as again content, right? We keep coming back to copywriting and content. You can just produce a lot more if you lean into it a little bit.
Awesome. So Matt, is there one simple step that a practice owner could take today to either better understand or start to implement AI in their practice?
Well, I think you already touched on it, was to play around. I think that giving a couple examples, like saying have it write a blog or write a news post or something that you can look at and then just read yourself and get it familiar. I did honestly, a lot of training or trial and error. I subscribe to several different newsletters, and those newsletters give me ideas for prompts, which is helpful. But I really think the best way at this stage is really just to play around with it for your specific purpose. I had a friend who owns a clinic, and they asked me, can ChatGPT write my notes for me? So I did a little bit of tweaking in there and just asked, get first of all your Medicare compliant documentation, what are the rules, stuff like that. And then I had it print out a template, and then I showed them, okay, you can put this basic information in here and it will print out your note. And it does. It's like everything though, you have to go through and read it. So I don't know that it saved any time at all, but I was just, playing around with my buddy and said, yeah, you can do that. I don't think it's functional at all right now, and I wouldn't recommend it, but it is something. But my point is just play around because it is fun to see what it can come up with. And the ideas, there's something you had said earlier. One of the clients we had was wanting a job description. It was so easy with ChatGPT. It just, create that job description for a physical therapist, use, these whatever sources, and it just prints it out in 30 seconds.
Yeah. So there's certain things within your business that do make life easier. So if you know that those little things, absolutely. I love that. And Jacob, any final thoughts from you?
I think we've covered a lot. Like I said, it is just understand how to talk to these machines is going to be a good skill to have in the near future. And then just pay attention to how are people finding me, like we said, and that doesn't just go for AI, that goes for ads and local maps and how are people searching, and am I visible in those areas? What does Google look like? I recommend using things like private browsers and stuff because you can pigeonhole yourself into Google knowing something about you, and you're seeing different results than people around you and stuff. But how are people going to find me? Can they see me if they're searching online for something? AI can help with that, and it can also be something you have to adjust for. So.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you, Matt, and thank you, Jacob, for sharing your wisdom with us. And I appreciate all the hard work you're doing, being on the cutting edge there of AI and helping our clients find us, and also get results for them and getting patients to find them. So thank you both for being on the call with us today. And to our listeners out there, again, Neil Trickett here from Practice Promotions. And if you like to learn more here, just You can follow us online at practicepromotions.net. Don't forget to subscribe to our social media channels and LinkedIn and our podcast here. We're putting out great information all the time to help you in your practice. So Neil Trickett here, wishing you much success in your practice.
Thank you for listening to the Practice Marketing Podcast. Don't forget to get your free practice marketing sample kit at practicepromotions.net/kit. Start 2024 off the right way by building marketing systems that automatically attract new patients from online. That's practicepromotions.net/kit.